Hey, this is Jim. It's 11:33 a.m. in San Francisco, California on April the 21st. Please note that all discussions, analysis, and information presented are for general informational and educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial or any other form of professional advice. I want to make a correction again on this volume that we're looking for here on a 60-minute bar closing basis. The problem was that TradeStation inaccurately showed a green bar that should have been a red bar, 60-minute bar. So the original number I gave everyone, 3.6 million shares, was and is correct. So what we want to see here is we want to see moving forward any hourly closing bar, and that applies to the final half hour of trading because the U.S. market opens on the half hour. We end up with that little stub 30 minutes of trading activity into the close each day. But if the volume runs 3.6 million shares or greater on that bar, that counts as a 60-minute bar as well. It'll show up on the chart and it counts. So again, the reason we want to see 3.6 million shares is because we had a previous red closing bar within this whole nesting setup here. A spike out of the nesting setup that was a red, so a bar that closed to the downside. So we want higher volume on a bar that closes to the upside, a green bar. 3.6 million. The other thing I want to show you guys really quickly is on the 240-minute chart that I showed a couple weeks back, I guess. We have two more pay me later levels that have been added to this. So again, this remains valid setup on my side at least. So this is if the stock were to track into my zones of strength, this is the sort of opportunity zone here. The speed line, you guys can see the very sharp trajectory, and that's how we came up with this 1680 pay me later level from right here. On these two false re-entries that they were able to beat back down, we generated two more pay me later levels. So one at 24.45 and one at 28. And again, we talked about, the previous August high where Adam Aaron pounced, and the stock's, been crushed ever since, obviously. That sets up really nicely with any potential speed line attack that would happen during either April or May. In other words, we would be back at that high or through it, depending on when the speed line is attacked. As a matter of fact, I think we'd be through it at this point. Yeah, we'd be through it, even if it were to happen, in a flash, which I'm not calling, but we'd be up toward $30 plus. So, matter of fact, I'll leave that on the on this chart, 30 plus on any attack. Moving forward. The other thing I want to show you guys is on the 5-minute. This is the reason why this is such an explosive setup. Now, we have Friday options expiration and, tremendous amounts of money that these guys could make or lose. And they're in complete control as far as being able to manipulate the market, especially in the lit exchange. But what we have here is we have both the daily trigger and the hourly trigger at the 505 level. And then we have that air pocket up to this 581. So you see this note I added here of 421 equals a screaming buy. And that's because not only do we have this zone of strength out ahead of us right now, but because price was able to drop out of this expanding pattern below this yellow uptrend line, any move back above 505 with some velocity can slingshot through this air pocket and up to 581, at which point that would be re-entry into this expanding megaphone melt-up fractal. If you guys have never seen any of my videos or you're not familiar with behavioral analysis and my approach, this dotted white line is what I call a speed line, and it sits overhead. This yellow line is an uptrend line that marks this sort of megaphone pattern, this expanding megaphone melt-up fractal. It does not officially become a potential melt-up fractal until and unless price drops below that yellow uptrend line and then starts to re-enter on acceleration. If and when that happens, then in the past, human nature has tended to create a fast market move and an attack of the speed line. This is basically a small version of the 1987 expanding megaphone crash fractal, and this just the same rules applied but flipped upside down for a melt up fractal. Anyway, you guys can see that we've got sort of another moment of truth out here later in the day today for this Friday expiration. Obviously, they're trying as hard as they can to pin, and so far they're winning. But again, APE $1.61 is sort of where they could lose control anywhere above $1.61 today, or right out of the gate on Monday morning, and then 505 for AMC. And again, you know, they usually win in this situation, but I'm telling you, this is the most dangerous. This is the most dangerous setup for the shorts that I've seen since May 2021, when things were tracking the BAM model so well on an hour by hour basis. So potentially pretty interesting afternoon here, you guys. Good luck.